Hey guys, my name is Dean, aka the Blue Crusader, and welcome back to the channel. Gaming is a huge culture in the modern age, and many of us play games to pass time, conquer in-game achievements and goals, or even some of us as a career. With nostalgia-fueled opinions, it can sometimes seem that great games are becoming far and few between, with many of our favourite games being the classics. But each year there's a few titles that prevail and catch our interest. In today's video we'll be taking a look at the top 10 best video games of 2019 for the PC. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Number 10. World of Warcraft Classic. WoW has been around since 2004, one of the oldest MMOs that's still online at this point, and for good reason. Through trials and tribulations, it just doesn't seem to go down without a fight, and it's beloved by so many players. But naturally, with the additional expansions and updates throughout the years, some players became disheartened and felt their original Warcraft they grew up with and loved was getting lost, be it through poor story writing decisions or clunky additional gameplay mechanics and the altering of the UI. The exact thing happened to RuneScape, now called RuneScape 3 as its primary version name. In 2013, the creators of RuneScape Jagex released Old School RuneScape, a rollback and re-release of RS07, the nostalgic 2007 version of the game that fans enjoyed for the old graphics and gameplay. In August 29, to much praise, Blizzard did the same thing by releasing World of Warcraft Classic, with many players and streamers alike becoming immersed and sometimes addicted to the never-ending gameplay, with competitive gamers trying to reach level 60 first, be the first to crush a boss fight, or earn achievements as the first on the realm. Number 9. Planet Zoo. A simulation game in which the player partakes in the construction and management of a virtual zoo, the game is based as a successor to the previous Zoo Tycoon franchise by the same developers. It is in the same collection as Frontier Development's other title, Planet Coaster, and it allows the player to be in a world of vast and diverse kinds of animals, which include lion cubs, elephants, bears and giraffes, to name a few. The purpose is to construct enclosures by creating and constructing artificial habitats for each creature through research and development, allowing the animals to thrive and raise more of their kind for the future. There is a campaign in the game as well as a sandbox mode where players can be creative and feel less boxed in if they want to have a less linear experience, similar to how Zoo Tycoon was set up with the same two separate game modes. Number 8. Gears 5. Gears of War is a huge franchise, spanning back to the days of the Xbox 360's prime as a flagship title for Microsoft. It follows the story of Marcus Phoenix and the other Gear soldiers on the planet Serra as they fight gallantly against the monsters called the Locust beneath the planet. Gears 5 is the newest title in the series that's available on Windows through the Xbox Game Pass system as well as via the Xbox One, and it was released back on September the 10th of 2019. The game has split screen modes supporting up to 3 players as well as online co-op to tackle the campaign. The game has 5 different enthralling modes, with the campaign said to be the best so far, with the player partnering with a former ally of their enemy and learning more about the Locust. Perhaps the coolest thing about Gears 5 are the crossovers where you can play as characters from the newest Terminator movie Dark Fate, as well as the popular crossover which allows you to play as some of the characters from Halo Reach, one of the more popular Xbox 360 games. These characters are Emil and Kat, part of the Noble Squad. Number 7. The Outer Worlds. An RPG developed by Obsidian Entertainment, the same developers of Knights of the Old Republic 2 and Fallout New Vegas, The Outer Worlds is a first-person orientated game in which players can create a character and use a spaceship as a hub to fast travel to the different worlds in the game. Similar in regard to Fallout, which it seems to be heavily inspired by, you can recruit companions to fight and quest with you in, and the game is heavily influenced by the choices that the player makes via the in-game dialogue, something that was highly prevalent in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. The game is set in the future in the year 1901, in an alternate reality where the world of mega corporations colonize colonize galactic space, taking over other planets in the name of business. The player is the determining factor for how history will be written, as you discover multiple factions in a power struggle in space. The game is set in a place called Halcyon, the furthest colony of humanity. Number 6. Death Stranding. A highly anticipated game by game designer Hideo Kojima of Kojima Productions, Death Stranding is an action game with an intense story. Many may know of Death Stranding from its various trailers or for its use of the real actors Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead and Mads Mikkelsen, who are the faces of the in-game characters. The game's setting falls upon in the United States in the aftermath of a phenomenon called Death Stranding, hence the game's title, where creatures causing havoc were unleashed to roam the earth from a realm between life and death. The player controls the protagonist Sam Bridges, which is played by Norman Reedus, who has to deliver supplies to the different communities remaining on Earth and connect them together via communications network. It's an open world title where the player has to battle creatures called BTs, meaning beach things, and also an opposing enemy faction called Mule, who attempt to ambush and steal the cargo deliveries from the player. Number 5. Football Manager 2020. An immensely popular simulation title series by Sports Interactive, Football Manager is very popular on Windows and mobile devices. Football Manager 2020 is a game in which the player can run their own football club, as you've guessed it, as the manager, with every decision-making process counting towards the success of your team. There are diverse progression and planning systems in place within the game, with every football club being different in some way. When playing, you have a choice to choose between 50 different football countries around the world, by choosing to manage or oppose 2,500 different clubs, and having opportunity to sign between some 500,000 real football players to your team. You can organise different drills and programs on the training pitches and have full control over the performance of your squad. Number 4. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Developed by Respawn Entertainment, the creators of Titanfall and Apex Legends, Jedi Fallen Order is the newest in the line of Star Wars games from EA and echoes the look and feel of the previous Force Unleashed series. Players are put in the shoes of a surviving Jedi Padawan, Cal Kestis, who is a survivor during the Great Jedi Purge that we know as Order 66, after the events of Revenge of the Sith. Throughout the game, the player is hunted by the Empire's Inquisitorius, more specifically their Inquisitor, trained personally by Darth Vader, known as the Second Sister, as you visit new worlds and old worlds such as Kashyyyk. Unlike the Force Unleashed 2, there isn't a different ending or path for those players who want to play as the dark side, but the gameplay allows the player to utilize various different lightsaber and force abilities to progress through the game. Number 3. ASGARD'S Wrath. A game based upon Norse mythology and written by Sanzaru Games, ASGARD'S Wrath is a title developed for the Oculus Rift as a VR game, allowing you to play as a mortal to become a hero or even become a living god in an RPG style world. The game allows you to explore through the diverse and vast world of Norse mythology, playing as many different heroes and recruiting many more as followers. You can play as the different gods and goddesses of lore and push your VR system to its maximum potential in an otherworldly experience. Number 2. Age of Empires Definitive Edition. If you asked me what the best RTS game of all time was, I'd say Age of Empires, or more specifically, Age of Empires 2. Perhaps I'm biased as it was my first real-time strategy game, but when playing countless others, they never had the feel that Age of Empires has. Age of Empires is a game series published by Microsoft, and the Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition is a release to celebrate the 20th anniversary of many people's favourite title in the series. Glossed over with 4K HD graphics, a remastered soundtrack, and a new expansion which is called The Last Khans, which unleashes 3 brand new campaigns along with 4 civilizations for the player to play as. The game boasts 200 hours of gameplay covering 1,000 years of human history. Age of Empires 2 is such a nostalgic title, especially for the soundtrack alone, which makes this re-release both forgivable and also pretty exciting. Number 1. Red Dead Redemption 2. So you got me, Red Dead 2 wasn't technically released this year in 2019, it was released last year in October 2018, but it had to take number 1 on this list both for its hype and the reviews, mainly due to it dropping on PC only 1 year later, which is an extremely respectable feat from Rockstar. We all know how long it took for GTA 5 to come to PC, and look how profitable that was for them. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a spiritual successor to the classic 2010 second Red Dead Redemption game, which was on the Xbox 360 by Rockstar Games, and it's one of the company's biggest franchises along with Grand Theft Auto, which we all know. Set in the American West in 1899, players play as a cowboy in Blackwater. After a robbery has gone wrong, evading bounty hunters and the government on their tail is what you need to do. The players primarily play as Arthur Morgan, who's the protagonist, having to choose to remain loyal to his gang, but also make choices to survive. Thanks for watching the video. Let me know if you have another great game I missed in this video in the comments section below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and definitely subscribe and turn on notifications by clicking the bell next to the subscribe button so you don't miss out on more awesome top 10 and gaming videos every single day. And I'll see you next time.